r/AskReddit by Reddit. What's your duck this? I quit. Story? Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Enjoy the video. I was fractured my orbital socket in an industrial accident. Another employee lost focus at the wrong time, was supposed to wait for a hand signal and didn't. We had been working over 90 days straight of 13 to 14 hour shifts and living in crappy motel a 45-minute drive from our work site. We were supposed to be on a rotation where we didn't work more than 3 weeks at a time. It was a close call and could have been a lot worse. I'm glad I saw it coming and had time to at least try and get out of the way. I got sent away after a night in the ER while the rest of that crew continued to work. After spending 2 or 3 days at home, the boss called to say that he needed me in Alaska in 2 days and that my flight was already booked. Told him I quit right on the spot. Damn, what kind of job was that? Drilling. My mom's. I was studying overseas and my parents booked a trip to come out at the end of the school term, bringing along my 2 siblings, one who lived away from home, the other about to start college. It was a month-long trip with lots of prepaid flights, trains, hotels, plus it would likely be the last big trip we all took together. Obviously, both my parents requested and secured approved paid time off months in advance. It was the month of June, typical summer vacation. A couple days before the trip was to happen, my mom's boss hands her an assignment. Mom hands it back, saying she can't take it on as she has a month-long vacation about to start. My folks don't believe in hyperbole, but trip of a lifetime would be a fair description. Boss says, oh yay, sorry, you can't take vacation anymore. Mom says if you cancel my PTO, I quit. Boss, blank stare. Mom handed in her notice and left. We had an amazing trip. She got a new job on return. I have explained it to people like this. I'm going on this vacation. Whether I still work here or not, when I come back is up to you. I told my manager that one particular day I would be gone for a family matter. I had mentioned the date since 3 months ago and for every month reminded her. Fast forward to 3 to 4 days before my day off, she told me that I couldn't go and should cancel any plans I had for that day since it would be a big and difficult day at work. I looked her in the eye and said, look manager, you have 2 options here. One, you give me my day off and I come work normally the other days, or you don't and I don't come again. She gave me the day off and I'm proud that I stood up for myself. A little Greek restaurant I worked at early in high school. Got hired and spent the first 2 days cleaning everything the owner and son were too lazy to clean. Years worth of old grease in the deep fryer's interior, mold in the fridges, stains in the bathrooms, etc. Just ducking gross. Ask about payday on the end of the 2nd day and it went something like this. So, how does payday work here? Is it weekly, bi-weekly, what? You are on training. If we like the job you do, we will hire you with pay. Confused, I ask, so you're saying that you're not going to pay me for cleaning years worth of mold, grease, and bathroom stains? No, you will be paid for work once your training is done. Oh, okay. Duck this, I quit. Edit 1. Wow, I did not think this would get this level of attention. Edit 2. For those saying that this level of mistreatment is just a thing with Greeks, I can't speak to your experiences, but I have since worked in a couple of other Greek restaurants and was treated great. My manager claimed to have called me to change my schedule. My phone didn't show any missed calls from his number. He was lying, and then same day scheduled me to work a shift that afternoon without confirming that I was free or willing to pick up the extra shift. When I came into my next shift, he asked why I didn't come in for my scheduled shifts, showing me my work schedule that he'd printed out. I told him I hadn't been scheduled for that shift, showed him the screenshot of my original posted schedule from 2 days after it had been officially posted that showed I hadn't been scheduled for that day, and he said it was fine, smiled and nodded, and sent me back to my shift. Next week's schedule comes out. I have no shifts. I ask what's up, and he says that since I missed a shift and didn't call in to say I'd be missing, I had to lose 2 weeks of hours. I again asked why that would be happening if I had come in for my scheduled hours, reminding him we had talked about it. He had said it was fine. He pretended that he didn't remember that conversation. He was absolutely shocked when I quit before the 2 weeks were over. I got a voicemail 3 days later asking why I didn't show up to my scheduled shifts that week, and when I called him back asking what about I got a new job and will not be back was unclear. He claimed that he had never called me or left a voicemail, and I must have just been confused. Yeah, sure, some guy with your voice took your phone, called my number, claimed to be you, and used my name in the voicemail, mentioning my new job and confusion over my new schedule. To benefit who? To accomplish what? That manager got let go a few weeks later. Found out he had been pulling the same crap with other employees. They erased his name from the front of the building and everything. Got a summer job while I was in high school at a place that made fiberglass tanks. I was told I'd be doing groundskeeping and yard work. Figured I'd scored an easy gig of bombing around on a ride-on mower and whatnot. Nope. The first day I show up, in a t-shirt and jeans, I was told the yard equipment wasn't ready. So they had me cut raw fiberglass for 8 hours with an X-Acto knife and no PPE. Being a dumb kid, I didn't immediately quit and did this for 3 more days. At least after the first day I'd brought my own gloves and long sleeve shirt. However, on said fated day 3 was when they were doing tank coatings. So about 10 feet away from me are 2 dudes in full PPE. We are talking coveralls, rubber gloves, glasses, face shields, and respirators. 10 feet away from me, in a poorly ventilated room, spraying the exterior of a tank with presumably fiberglass coating. I only made it a few hours before having to go to the bathroom to puke. Was told to quit being a pussy and go back out on the floor. So I fortunately had a moment of not being a stupid kid and said I quit and walked home. Both parents were mad when I told them I'd quit. Jokes on them though, because a few years later, that company killed 2 dudes. A guy asphyxiated while working inside one of the tanks, and the person that tried to rescue him also ended up dying. Whole place got shut down permanently. I hate companies that pull this bait and switch crap. Like, you got hired to do the yard work, not to cut fiberglass. It's like companies who say they hire you for one position and then immediately put you on sales, even if it's not at all what you were hired for. 22 days ago I worked for a group home. We had a difficult group of residents, but the company things so much worse. Every resident was 14 to 22 years old. They had moderate mental development delays, 65 to 75 IQ range. They all had a psychiatric disorder, from severe ADHD to schizophrenia, and they had also all been convicted of a violent sexual crime. I worked 3rd shift. My normal hours were 10:30 PM to 9 AM, 4 days a week. About 6 months into working there, they did a massive layoff. They went down to bare minimum staff to student ratio each shift, with nobody extra to call in if needed. That meant if someone called out, a person on the previous shift was forced. It got to the point where I was being forced 3 out of 4 shifts per week, and not just a few hours. I was working 10:30 PM to around 4:30 PM the next day and still having to come in for my following shift. I had an hour commute each way, so I'd get home at 5:30 PM from a 16-hour shift and have to leave the house again 4 hours later. Managed that for about a month. Then one morning I was told last minute I was being forced. Told them I was ducking down and walked out. That month took a huge toll on my mental health. Swear it took me like a year to recover. Kinda long. Sorry. I was a manager at a company where the executives were ineffective. I worked 60 hours a week most of the time and had to do all of my director's duties because he didn't understand our systems. The work environment was also pretty hostile and passive aggressive. People cried on the job daily in other departments, slightly less in mine. Managers and staff would snap at other departments the same way the executives did because of the stress. I tried to take care of my department and make sure they weren't being abused or taken advantage of. I had 3 days leave for a death in the family, but had to work every day from home, and the funeral itself. It was especially vexing, because it was to redo the same thing every day that my boss would just forget to complete and need done again the next day. I brought this to his attention, as well as all the other issues, and he said he would try to do better. Months went by, and it got worse. Finally, our team sat down with him and told him things needed to change. I told him that the environment was more hostile and aggressive than ever, and the team agreed. He told me that was my perception and we needed an attitude change, then left for a meeting, which I had provided him the data for. I cleared out my desk and left, quit with HR. For me the kicker is that he kept assigning me tasks and insisted that I was still working there 4 days. Never been more relieved to quit in my life. Refusing to let you quit, that's a new one for me. Thank you for watching Reddit. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more r/AskReddit videos. Share your stories in the comments section below.